Hi, good morning. In this session, we will be discussing about as part of basic PLSQL. We have seen collections that are available in SQL as part of SQL sessions. Now we will be looking into the collections what we have in PLSQL as part of basic PLSQL session. Now let us see the collections in PLSQL one by one. One is VArray, second associative array, third PLSQL table, 4 PLSQL record, 5 nested table, 6 object table. All these are the collections that are available in Oracle, that is both SQL and PLSQL. When it comes to the PLSQL collections, we have VArray, associative array, PLSQL table, PLSQL record and nested table. Object table is at SQL level only, which we have already discussed as part of SQL sessions. VArray, which is varying array, which was available in older versions of Oracle. To continue the backward compatibility, we still have VArray in our latest releases as well. Next, PLSQL table and PLSQL record. These are the two new collections which they have added in the version 8 by replacing the V. Associative array and nested table. We do have nested table at SQL level, that is table inside a table, and even in PLSQL we have a nested table. The PLSQL table, whatever the collection we have in PLSQL, is also called as a associative array or nested table. So the associative array, the PLSQL table and nested table all are same at PLSQL level. When it comes to the nested table, we have an object at SQL level, a separate nested table within SQL. The same PLSQL table is also called as nested table in the releases in PLSQL. So when we refer to the nested table, we should refer the nested table in two different ways, one at SQL level, one at PLSQL level. The main difference between SQL collections and PLSQL collections is all the SQL collections will be stored in the database, whereas PLSQL collections will not be stored in the database. All the PLSQL collections within the PLSQL block only. They are available to the block itself, not outside the block. If we define them in a package specification, then they are available to the entire schema. If we give grant on this package to other schemas, then these collections are available for other schemas as well. But the PLSQL collections will not be stored inside the data. This is the major difference between collections in SQL and collections in PLSQL. All the SQL collections will be stored in the database. So within SQL we have object type, object table and nested table. within the SQL. But when it comes to the PL SQL, we have associative array, PL SQL table and PL SQL record. The PL SQL table is a nested table in the releases. But all these PL SQL collections will not be stored in the database. Now, let us see the PL SQL collections one by one in detail. First, we will cover the theoretical part, then we move on to the practical part. Let us start with VArray. The full form of VArray is varying array. When we define the collection as VArray, the VArray should have a data type and a maximum size limit. That means when we define the collection in PL SQL as VArray, we should specify the data type, which type of data are within this VArray, that is number, character, date, etc. So data type must be specified. Along with that, we also specify the size, the maximum size. So while defining the VArray itself, we need to specify the size. Once we specify the size, that will be the maximum limit of the VArray. When we refer to the size, here is number of elements within the array. That is what is the size of VArray. The size is not unlimited here. The size is limited within the VArray. That is, the number of elements within the VArray is limited. That limit has to be specified while defining the VArray itself. When we specify VArray limit as 10, we can insert only 10 values into this array, VArray. We cannot specify more than 10 elements. If you try to specify or insert more than 10 elements, it will throw an error. So this is, that is, the maximum size limit is one of the drawback of VArray. That is, the size has to be specified in the beginning itself. So when we define the VArray, we will not have any information about the number of elements that we are stored inside the VArray. That is one drawback. And when we specify the maximum size limit for the VArray, we cannot alter the size of the VArray because the VArray will not be stored inside the database. It will be stored within the PL SQL itself. That is why the maximum limit cannot be altered, cannot be modified, or cannot be increased. These are the two drawbacks of VArray. Otherwise, we can specify, we can store an array kind of structure, array kind of elements within the VArray. And data type has to be specified, so the data should follow the data type what we have specified while defining the VArray. Next, associative array. In recent releases, PL SQL table is referred as associative array. But like varying array, we have one more normal array in PL SQL, which is the functionality is same as VArray but named first, like synonym. Next, PL SQL table. This is the enhanced form of VArray. In case of VArray, we need to specify the data type, which type of data we are going to store in the VArray, and it is always one dimensional array. That is, V array can be specified for a single column storage only, which is one dimensional. That means we can store the values of one column only within the V array. When it comes to the PL/SQL table, it can be one dimensional or two dimensional or multi-dimensional. So we can store the values of one column, two columns or multiple columns with the help of PL/SQL table. And the data type can be specified dynamically. Data type need not be specified as static. It can be specified dynamically using PL/SQL attributes. And there is no maximum size limit for the PL/SQL table. We need not specify the maximum size or the limit for the PL/SQL table. That is why the number of elements that can be stored in the PL/SQL table will be unlimited. Any number of elements can be stored in the PL/SQL table because we do not specify any maximum size limit. And this is at PL/SQL. The PL/SQL table cannot be stored inside the database. So when we define the PL/SQL table, we do not specify the size, and while defining the data type, either we go for static data type or dynamic data type using PL/SQL attributes. We can specify table name dot column name percentage type. That means we are going to store one column's data in the PL/SQL table. Or we can specify table name percentage row type. That means we are going to store multiple columns in the collection based on the number of columns in the table. We stores one column. If the table has two, the collection will store the values for 10 columns. Next, PL/SQL record. This is almost the same as PL/SQL table. Like PL/SQL table, we don't specify any maximum size here for PL/SQL record. But in case of PL/SQL table, the columns are predefined. Means we define the collection for defined size. Either we specify table or table name percentage row type. That means when we specify table predefined, the same column names, same data types and size from the table will be considered. When we specify table name dot column name, the data type and size will be dynamically taken from the column of the table. But in case of PL/SQL record, we can define our own structure. We need not go for the predefined table or predefined column. We can define our own structure. The number of columns we can define, names of the columns we can define, data types of the columns we can define, size of the columns we can define. So when we say PL/SQL record collection, so everything we have the flexibility. We can choose our own collection structure. How many columns, data types of the columns, sizes of the columns, all these parameters will be defined by us. That is what is PL/SQL record. And to make this as collection, use the PL/SQL record which we have already defined. Define this as a table, PL/SQL table again. When we say PL/SQL record, it cannot store multiple rows inside that or multiple elements. It can store only one record. If you want to make this as collection, define a PL/SQL table with the data type of the PL/SQL record which we have defined, so that we get user defined collection with the help of both PL/SQL record and PL/SQL table. Next, and again, when we say PL/SQL record, there is no limit for the number of columns and there is no limit for the number of elements. Next, nested table. As we already know, PL/SQL table is referred as nested table in the latest versions. So when we say nested table, it is same as PL/SQL table. But when we refer this nested table at SQL level, it is different. We define a table inside another table. Means we define an object, include this object as in the main table, and then specify the storage as a nested table. But this nested table will be stored in the database if it is at SQL level. If you define this as PL/SQL level, at PL/SQL level as PL/SQL table, then it will not be stored in the database. The next is object table, which is at SQL level, which we have already discussed. So VArray is varying array with static data type and fixed size, that is the number of elements are fixed, where the maximum size cannot be altered later. Associative array, PL/SQL table, nested table are synonyms, all are same. In this, the data type can be static or dynamic. There is no maximum size limit. It can be one-dimensional, two-dimensional or multi-dimensional. PL/SQL record is also a collection with user-defined type, user-defined collection. Number of columns, names of columns, data types, sizes, everything we will be choosing over there. Now let us see some more features of the collections. We have methods for collections at PL/SQL level. So we can use these methods only for VArrays, because it will have a maximum size limit. Other collections we do not have maximum size limit, so limit method cannot be used with other collections except for VArray. So count, first, next, last, delete, extend can be used with any of the collections. Limit can be used with only VArray. We also have one more method which is exists. So when we say exists, we do not use the keyword exists, but we reference the index of the collection, like collection of 2, collection of 5. That means we are referencing the fifth element or second element in the array. If that element exists, then do something like that. So that is another method. Now let us see this method. This will give the total number of elements which are filled in the collection, not the maximum size limit, that is the number of elements which are filled, not the empty elements. Suppose when we define V array of 10, and if you put 3 values in the collection, the count is 3, not the 10. And if you go for PL/SQL table, if the collection is empty, it is 0. If you add 3 elements, the count is 3. If you extend the collection up to 100, but 3 elements, the count is 3, not 100. Means 100 positions are available to add the values, but we have added only 3 values into the collection. That means the count is only 3. Even though there are 100 positions are opened, the number of values what we have inserted or included is only 3. So the count becomes 3. That is the number of values which are available in the collection, which are stored, is the count. One more difference is there between V array and PL/SQL table. V array is dense. Suppose when we specify the limit as 10, we can have 10 values. While inserting the data, we should insert the values into the array continuously. First value will go to the first position, second value will go to the second position, third value goes to the third position, and so on. Any element as in the V array. Why? V array is always dense, it's continuous, whereas table, it need not be continuous. First value into first position, second value into second, third value into third position. Now we want to insert the fourth value. Fourth value either can go to 4th position or 5th position or 100th position if those positions are opened. This is the difference between V array and table. So PL/SQL table is sparse. You can insert the values anywhere. 1, 2, 3 is filled. 100th element is also filled. Now if you take the count is not 100, count is only 4. 1, 2, 3 and then the 100. Total there are 4 values in that. So the count is 4. Next, first. This will give from the collection. Last. Next is next element. Prior and next, these are from the current position. That is, if you refer the current position as 5, the prior will give the 4th element, next will give 6th element. Next, delete. Delete an element from the, if you say collection of 5 dot delete, 5th element will be deleted. If you say delete 1, 5 elements will be deleted. So using delete, either we can delete single element from the collection or multiple elements from the collection. Extend can be used in 3 ways. Extend. It will extend the collection by 1 value. Means it will open an empty element where you can add a value into that later. Before adding values into collection, we should always extend it. Then only we can add the values into the collection. So one way, simple extend, it will just extend the collection or add one empty element to the collection at the end of the existing values. Next, extend with a number. If I say extend of 5, extend of 10, when we say extend of 5 elements will be opened. So when we say extend, the default value is 1. Another method with extend of 1, 5, 3, 10. So in this method, when we say 1, 5, first one is the position, second one is number to be extended. That means when we say extend 1, 5 elements by copying the value from the first position into all the 5 elements. We are extending the collection by 5 elements, and we are also filling the values by copying the value from the first position into all these 5 elements. When we say extend 3, 10, the value in the third position will be copied and collection will be extended by 10 elements. All the 10 elements will be filled with the value which is present in the third position. So extension can be done in 3 ways. The next, limit. This will give the maximum size limit what we have specified while defining the V array, and this is only for V array. Next, these are the methods for collections. Multi-set operations. These multi-set operations are introduced in 11G. Before 11G, we do not have multi-set operations. Multi-set operations are used to combine the arrays or collections. Like table, we can join 2 tables, or we can join the results of 2 queries. Similarly to the combine, when we want to combine the values from 2 collections, we use multi-set operations. In this multi-set operations, multi-set is a keyword here, it's an operator. Use the below keywords. One is union, union distinct, intersect, intersect distinct, except, except is nothing but minus in set operators, except distinct. When we say union, this is not exactly our union set operator. This is equal to union all in the set operator. Means this union will give with the duplicate value. Not only union, union all will give with duplicate. That's why we have distinct keyword along with union, intersect and except. So when we use distinct, duplicates will be eliminated. But all these multi-set operations can be performed collections. We can combine the elements of 2 collections or more collections. Not only 2, we can also combine the elements of 3 collections or 10 collections using multi-set operations. So when we say union, collection, the elements from the collection 1 and elements from the collection 2 both will be combined. And we can take all these elements into another collection also. So these are the operations available on collections, but these are introduced in 11G only. Prior to 11G, multi-set operations are invalid. So in this session, we have discussed about the SQL level. Here we have V array, associative array, PL SQL table, nested table, and SQL record at PL SQL level. We do have methods for all these collections. As part of methods, we have count, first, last, prior, next, exists, delete, extend, and limit. Then we have multi-set operations which are introduced in 11G: union, union distinct, intersect distinct, except, except distinct. Between union and distinct, intersect and distinct, except and distinct, there is a space. These are two different words. Before distinct, there is a space. Now let us move on to the practical session. Now practical